That is a strong woman. I really
It was funny. It was a funny moment. It was kind of surprising.
So I go to Oklahoma.
Yeah. I am Robin Kirby, and I lived at Traditional Strength in Edmond, Oklahoma. I am a stay-at-home mom and I'm a wife. We live on 5 acres in Edmond, and I help my husband out with his business. He's a dentist, and I help to manage his practice. And I homeschool my kids, so keep about as busy as I like to be, which is not very. But I am a bit of a research nut at times, and I had listened to a whole lot of podcasts about the importance, mostly for health benefits, of having a lot of muscle mass and increasing muscle mass, especially as for women when they're in their mid 30s to begin. And I just convinced myself that I needed to start strength training, and do compound barbell lifts in order to um, age better, have a better chance at aging well, now that I'm middle aged. So um, I knew that I felt really, really intimidated by lifting weights. And I've witnessed my husband do quite a bit of barbell lifting, and I knew that I would need some help. So whenever I came in for my first session, then I had never done any barbell lifting before. And so my first session, I think we did 18 pounds on the squat, and then I think it was 55 pounds on the deadlift. And so that was not quite a year and a half ago. And um, I had I had never done a barbell squat or deadlift before. My squat, my heaviest squat was 200 pounds, and then the deadlift was 220 pounds, and the overhead press is at 60 pounds at this point, and the bench is 120, right? 125, 125 pounds.
Tell me about hiking.
Okay. So before I started working out with Greg, I had went on a hike with my family out in New Mexico, and I was pulling up the tail of the hike. I was behind all of the other kids, all of my nieces and nephews, and after that, my knees hurt for weeks. My knees were swollen. I was really struggling. I felt terrible. And then about 1 year later, I had been strength training for over 6 months at that point. I went on a similar hike, 5 miles, similar elevation, and I was able to carry my son up the mountain on my shoulders. I walked around the corner, and this lady was like, "That is a strong woman." And I did not have knee pain afterwards, and I felt way, way better. I recovered from being able to go do that. So it's really meaningful for me to be in good enough shape um, to get out there and do fun things with our family together and make meaningful memories together. So we started off my first session. We did the overhead press, which is one of the major upper body exercises that we do with this method. And we went for probably over a month or so. And then my shoulder, I was doing this, and my shoulder joint popped out of its socket, and it rolled out of its place. And then I had to tell Greg something that I probably should have said in our first session, that I have a hypermobile shoulder, and I've known about this forever. And it's just so old and whatever to me. I didn't even bring it up. I had to go see a doctor at one point, and they think that I probably don't have as many ligaments as most people do in my shoulder to keep it in place, and it's imperative for me to exercise my shoulder and do a lot of upper body work as I age, especially, and being able to maintain normal function. So I'm Greg has helped me tremendously to figure out how to continue exercising with um, my deficient shoulder. So initially, Greg had me pushing the bar against the rails and pushing it up like that, uh, so that I was locked into a certain plane of motion. And we did that for months. We kept the weight really, really low. Um, I think we dropped almost all of the weight that I had made in my progress and started going up by like, what, 2 pounds at a time or something. We were just making tiny, tiny incremental increases and continuing to exercise consistently. And that ultimately made a lot of progress. And then we started doing, we added in being able to lift without the rails, just in a free range of motion. And I was able to control the bar going up that way without this being unstable. And at this point, I've been able to drop having to push the bar against the rails, and I'm able to do a standard technique for the overhead press, which is a pretty big deal. And I can lift a bar now, which feels like a big accomplishment. Yeah, I brought a lot of my family members in. So Greg has trained both of my parents and all of my sisters. I've got two other sisters, so he has not trained my brother yet. But one of these days, maybe we'll change that. So, oh, we appreciate that. Yes, it's awesome.
Who's running this interview? Tell me about coaching.
I think the value of coaching outside of some of the basic and the obvious things of feeling more confidence that I can do barbell lifts safely. Greg gives me all of the cues for being able to perform the lifts effectively, especially related to my height and my abilities and all of those kind of things that would be different for everybody individually. Is just the way he's able to program my exercise. He knows exactly how hard I can work out, and that's something that I don't have a great idea of how hard I am able to work out. So some days I'm able to work out harder than I think I can, and then other days I'm really not able to. And he's able to program me just progressively, bit by bit. So we're just making this incremental progress over time, and it really adds up to a lot. And I had never experienced that in any kind of exercise that I'd ever done before. So usually I just thought we'd show up and do whatever kind of a workout as a group. Everybody's doing the same thing, and with this coaching, it's highly individualized and tailored, and I wouldn't be able to make this kind of progress without Greg's help.